Rejected, throwing away, affected. I don't know what to say. Ejected, cast out to the sea, disconnected. They didn't want me.
Hello everybody, welcome to the final episode of Nicksmissal IV, the final chapter. I am Patricia, and I'm here with Edmund James.
Here.
So, today we're going to conclude our discussion of the entire Nicksmissal series with a discussion of the latest Nickelodeon show that was canceled. And we're talking about Skyrat, created by Craig Bartlett. For those who don't know, a few years ago, around San Diego Comic-Con, Craig Bartlett, as well as a few creators of various Nickelodeon shows at the time, such as Sanjay and Craig and Breadwinners, he was in a panel and he was announcing that he was going to be creating a new pilot called Skyrat. The pilot was supposed to be about a rat who suffered from amnesia and he believes to be a pigeon. Basically, he wanted to have this possibly as a test run to see if maybe he can get Nickelodeon's good graces so that eventually we could have the Jungle movie. And now it's been a reversal. We are getting the Jungle movie, but we are not getting Skyrat. And for those who are wondering, oh, but Patricia, there's an IMDb page that says it's going to come out in 2018. It's going to come out, but I can assure you, I talked to Craig a few times over the past couple of months because I'm working on a secret Hey Arnold project that I cannot say right now. And I asked him regarding about Skyrat, and he said, "Hi Patricia, Skyrat has been cancelled since last year, and that IMDb page is bogus, and I had requested it to take it down." So yeah, there you go. As of right now, Skyrat is not coming out. Maybe it'll come out in the future, but as of right now, there are no plans for it to be released.
You know what this situation is kind of similar to?
What?
You know when Family Guy was cancelled? Seth MacFarlane basically made American Dad to kind of replace a Family Guy and fill its void, but Family Guy ended up coming back, and American Dad came out at the same time, except with this case, and Craig Bartlett more or less did the same with Skyrat, except Skyrat is not coming out.
Yeah, as we said before, we are not sure if Skyrat will come out in any future time, but considering that Craig Bartlett has had failed pitches in the past, like, for example, for those who remember a few years ago, when he was at Cartoon Network, he pitched a pilot called Party Wagon, and as of right now, that has not came out. And there were many attempts of him trying to pitch other possible shows around Cartoon Network and even on Spike TV, but those have not come out. So we can just put this as another cartoon on the list that has not come out. And I kind of had a feeling that it may have not come out because we even talked about this last year on Nicksmissal III, that we were excited about Hey Arnold, the Jungle movie, and we were talking about like the early ideas for it. And I even said, and I even quoted, I hope that we don't talk about Skyrat in next year's Nicksmissal. And here we are. We are talking about it in this year. We are talking about it. So, yeah. So James, I would like to know from you, what would have happened if we would have gotten Skyrat to come out for Nickelodeon instead of the Jungle movie?
Could I say this before I give my opinions on it?
Yeah, go ahead.
If Craig Bartlett's show, pilot for Spike TV got approved, that would mean at least 3 people involved in Nickelodeon moved on to Spike TV. John Kate, Klasky Shupo, and Craig Bartlett.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it kind of made sense because, that was, it was kind of like that time in which, everything was just really scattered around. Like, we have to remember that around the, early 2000s, American animation just wasn't as popular anymore. In fact, I'm not even going to say, I'm just going to give like a little tiny blurb about the Secret Hey Arnold project, but I was interviewing somebody, I'm not going to say who yet, that we were talking about that, he was like one of the major ups around the 90s with, cartoons, but around the 2000s, he couldn't get work. So, it was like due to the fact that cartoons were just so different back then than they were before, and he was having difficulties finding a job. So I can understand for for somebody like Craig who wants to try to do a different animation, go in a different direction so that he can be able to stay afloat. So yeah, for something like Craig to do something on Spike TV, I mean, it's surprising because with Craig and adult cartoons, it's as of right now it's unheard of. But
Hey Arnold did kind of push the boundaries even by kids show standards.
that is true. You're absolutely right. And if Klasky Chupo can go into and also Klasky Chupo did go into adult cartoons like Duckman, but yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting if what would have happened for Craig's pitch on Spike TV, but as of what I know is what I could research on, it didn't get any further than the pitch, but yeah, going back into Skyrat, I think what were we gonna say about Skyrat? I'm sorry.
I think that we wouldn't really be getting the revival movies that we are now, and instead would have just been getting Skyrat. And I think that had it been successful and had it been a ratings powerhouse, I think that Nickelodeon would have been in talks with the Jungle movie, but I think it would have taken much longer to greenlight it because of Skyrat. So it wouldn't have gotten the Jungle movie as early as we did.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. Like, I still think that the management with Chris Viscardi becoming in charge of, management with the up-and-coming TV shows as well as the TV movies, I think it would have still happened, but you're right. I do think that because with Craig being incredibly busy with Skyrat, that maybe he wouldn't have had as much time to do the Jungle movie, so he probably would have gotten the Jungle movie much later. And, it's kind of funny because the Jungle movie will be coming out this Thanksgiving, and, with 2017, it would have been like 15 years since, the original Hey Arnold movie, which is crazy to me.
And 13 years since the original series ended, and even scarier, 16 years since the show wrapped up production.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I really liked... I even talked about this with Aaron Mehta from the Aaron Mehta Show, and I asked him this very question. What would you prefer? Would you prefer Season 6 of Hey Arnold or Skyrat? And he answered that, because he was a huge Hey Arnold fan, he wanted to see a Season 6. And let's be honest. I mean, in this age of nostalgia, I think that for a lot of Hey Arnold fans who've been following Craig's work for, over 2 decades at this point, if you were somebody like me who was first introduced to Arnold from the Sesame Street cartoons, you would have probably wanted to see a Season 6 because, I mean, if you see the Hey Arnold fan community, like, Operation Ruthless or Hey Arnold Save the Jungle movie, the Facebook page, the fan base is massive, and I mean really, really massive. They're so dedicated to Hey Arnold, to the characters, to the episodes, to the stories, that they would have preferred to see a continuation of Hey Arnold than rather to see Skyrat. Now, I mean, this was going to come out at a time in which the Nicktoons were just about to start getting more decent with the likes of Harvey Beaks and The Loud House. So it probably would have been ranked up there. And definitely I think that the ratings would have been high enough for Nickelodeon to greenlit the Jungle movie, because, I mean, it was pretty much, I mean, I remember when I first heard about that in that Variety article that the Jungle movie was going to come out, I thought it was a miracle that it happened.
I just posted something to my friend in a personal message about how excited I was when the news had broke. This was a week ago. I posted it in a personal message, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. It just seemed unprecedented.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was shocked about this too, because I thought it was just another joke. Like, oh, they've already played like this joke so many times in the past. But no, this was legit. It was from Variety, which you can always rely on for these kind of articles. And then we're talking about like, yes, we are getting the Jungle movie, and I was excited. But then, as more and more news of the Jungle movie started coming out, I've heard less and less news about Skyrat, and that got me a little bit concerned, and then I put 2 and 2 together, and then I realized that I don't think we're gonna get Skyrat, and of course then that's when I got the confirmation email from Craig, and, Yeah, I mean, it's going back to what I was saying before about like nostalgia. A lot of people are wanting to see something more familiar as opposed to seeing like something brand new. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've had The Loud House and it's become a huge success in its own right, but if you were to choose something familiar or you want to choose something brand new to see, come back, then a lot of people are going to be choosing something that they're familiar with. That's why so many people got excited about the Jungle Movie. That's why so many people got excited about Rocko's Modern Life Static Cling and the new Invader Zim TV movie. I've heard so much news and people's reactions to how excited they are. And, something like Skyrat, it sounds... I mean, I don't know how long Skyrat would have lasted because the concept is just a really simple one. It's about a rat who has amnesia. I don't know how far you can take the story if we know backstory about the rat, like before he got the amnesia, or we get to see the whole universe of the, the whole world of the pigeons and, how they're treated. And maybe, how their community is like. I mean, I think it would have been pretty interesting, but I don't know if you can take it as far as something like Hey Arnold.
Yeah, there's room for development there, but I think that they would have figured all this out during the development stages. It's a shame that it never got made, but at the same time, had it been produced, I don't think we would have gotten the Jungle Movie as quickly as we did.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you were to tie it in to Hey Arnold, in which, maybe one of the pigeons belongs to Pigeon Man.
Plus, the Hey Arnold Jungle Movie may have had different writers than the original run did, because some of those writers may have jumped ship to Skyrat, and the Jungle Movie may not meet people's expectations because of that. But then again, Craig Bartlett would be on board, and it's completely safe in his hands.
Yeah, definitely. I think I remember when the original writing of the Jungle Movie was out. It was around the late 90s, and him and Steve Vixton, who was a very well-known writer on Rugrats and Hey Arnold, and who did the voice of Oscar Kokoschka, they worked on writing the Jungle Movie.
Oscar was right. Oscar wrote for Rugrats and Hey Arnold. I mean, he gets criticized he gets criticized on the show, but if he wrote those episodes of Rugrats and Hey Arnold, then he must be doing something right.
Yeah. But yeah, and then eventually we had Jonathan Greenberg, who came in to, he did some punch-up dialogue. I remember an interview from, Paul Germain and Joan Sullivan that I did on my podcast a few years ago. And I think, I don't remember, I think it was something along the lines of, like, there was a project that Steve was not doing, and, I think that it came out later, and he was kind of disappointed at how it turned out. So I know that Steve was like really passionate about Hey Arnold, and unfortunately due to his passing, we don't know, maybe he would have came back to do Skyrat if that would have been the case, if he didn't pass away back in 2014. I do know that he was still alive during the time that Skyrat was announced, so maybe it would have been really cool to see him come back one last time to write a few episodes.
Or even co-write the Jungle Movie. I know it's going to be made in his honor.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it has to be at this point because Steve Vixton, for those who don't know, Steve has written some of the best episodes of Rugrats and Hey Arnold. For Hey Arnold, he wrote 1/3 of the entire series. So, yeah, I hope that Craig does dedicate something for his honor, absolutely. But yeah, I think that for something like Skyrat, with it focusing on a rat being raised by a bunch of pigeons, and it made a lot of sense because it's actually a really clever name, because Skyrat is basically, if you ever heard of the term for pigeons, they're known as being the rats of the sky, because for some countries, they see pigeons as vermin, and they're going around and eating food, and going around various properties, and they're bothering people. So yeah, I actually like the name of it. It's actually a really clever wording for the title.
Actually, just thought of this. Skyrat, Rugrat.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there. I guess that's a pretty tongue-in-cheek way to say it. Absolutely. So, yeah, unfortunately, just like you were saying before, I mean, I would have really liked to have seen Skyrad. Absolutely. I mean, I'm one for having a balance between the old and the new. And because we are getting the Jungle movie, it would have been really nice if maybe we would have had something brand new from Craig. But I guess I can't really think about pushing him too much because, I mean, not only was he going to be doing Skyrat, but, if he was going to be called in to do the Jungle movie, and he was doing Dinosaur Train, but then when Dinosaur Train ended, he was going to be doing Ready, Jet, Go. So that's like 3 or 4 projects all done in 2 different companies at the same time. It would have been overkill for him.
He would have essentially become Klasky Chupo in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. Doing like way too many projects at once, and then maybe sometime along the way, one of the projects would have not been as well as the others because you focus on one of them, but you don't put enough focus on the other. You're right. But yeah, I think that for Craig, wanting to make a decision on what he wanted to do. Did he wanted to do a TV movie he's been wanting to do for over 15 years, or did he wanted to do a brand new project for Nickelodeon to get back at their good graces? I mean, and for the fact that the fans have been working for over 6 years, ever since the likes of Operation Ruthless and Hey Arnold Save the Jungle movie, with their petitions and their videos and their letter sendings and their hashtags with, Hey Arnold Save the Jungle movie whenever they showed reruns of the 90s or all that, or the Splat. I guess it was the right decision that the Jungle movie was the choice that he had to do. As opposed to like creating something brand new that, either would have been good or maybe not so good. I don't know what it would have been like. Anyway, final words to discuss about with, Skyrat. James, I would like to know from you, if the Jungle movie becomes a major success, like a huge success with like millions of views and maybe purchases of the of the movie on iTunes and maybe, constant reruns and all that stuff, would you like to see a season 6?
Hell yeah.
Well, there you go. So yeah, if you guys want to see a season 6 of Hey Arnold and you want to make sure that the Jungle movie does really well this Thanksgiving, watch it. I guess that's it, everybody. This is the last episode of Nicksmissal, and we are done here. And it's been a long ride, James. It's been 4 years since we've done the podcast, and I'm gonna miss all this. But I do know that. But I do know that life moves on, and you have to end a chapter and start a new one. So. Right before I go, I want to give a special shout out to the guys at Comic Book Cast who inspired me to do Nicksmissal based off of their series called Crisis Week. They haven't done a new one in a while, but their stuff is still really good nonetheless. If you're interested in finding out rejected or canceled superhero movies, I'll leave their link in the description box below. Also want to give a special shout out to all the admins, both current and former, who have been on the podcast for these many years, and all the guests that we've had who have not been admins, like Clint from the Rise and Fall of Nickelodeon Facebook page, and Nick, formerly known as Orange Soda Boy 1. Let's see, we have the Nickelodeon Critic. Yeah, the likes of a whole bunch of people. So, you know what? Thank you guys so much for everything.
I only did this originally as like something to us, like a one-off thing. Well, we did it as a one-off thing, but I never thought that we'd keep on, that we'd do podcasts after that, and it would become a full-fledged series, and I didn't think that I would have this much fun doing it. I mean, like, I enjoyed doing it at first, but I've come to really love doing it, and it's become a ritual for me, and I think that we've grown close as friends over the years, Patricia.
Yeah, absolutely.
You become one of my best friends.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for that.
I must say the same thing for you, James, and I cannot be any more grateful to, having been an admin for the Facebook page for over 4 years, so it's been a fun ride. So yeah.
You're very welcome.
So yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. As for, who's going to be taking over for this podcast, or maybe there's going to be a spiritual successor podcast, I don't know. But whatever may come this way, I just want to thank you so much for listening and for tuning in. And if you're interested in what I do, then I do have my own personal YouTube channel where I do my own podcast called Casual Chats. I'm currently doing a weekly As Told by Ginger podcast called We're in Between. And yeah, I cannot thank you enough for listening, guys, and hope to see you there. If not, then thank you for everything, and goodbye.
We will see you in another life. It is over.
You got rejected, and your genius staff thinks you're a disgrace. You got rejected, and you feel like you've been punched in the face. You got rejected, tell your friends you let us boss in the mail. You got rejected, so just suck it up and go to hell.